Hi, Stacey and I are going to talk to you about identity and compliance in 2022 and what we foresee in 2023. First of all, hi, I'm Garrett Grayjack, CEO of YouAttest, an identity attestation company, and Stacey.
Hi, I'm Stacey Cameron. Garrett, thanks for having me. I'm CEO of QoS Consulting Solutions, where we do your cybersecurity and compliance services.
Fantastic. So let's just jump right into it. So, what are the big things you see in identity and compliance from 2022?
Well, in 2022, if you're familiar with the Verizon Data Breach Report, identity is the primary source of all attacks. So over half of the breaches are identity based, right? And I happen to believe that number is higher. I've looked at other reports as well that even has it as being over 80%. Identity is always the key component in the cyber kill chain. So whatever the attack vector is, the hacker usually wishes to compromise a credential, escalate the privileges, and then move around throughout the enterprise. So they're doing lateral movement, they're trying to attain your value target, which is often dealing with your data, right? So whether it's your sensitive PII or just your standard PII, or even your healthcare information, we have PHI or EPHI within your environment. They're looking for data. They're looking for ways that can impact your reputation. Sometimes these are monetary based. So they're in there, they're looking around, and they're really trying to see what they can get.
Yeah, absolutely. And let me go on top of that. One of the reports that came out in 2022 was the Palo Alto Unit 42 report that said user permissions in the cloud, 99% are overly permissive. So, Stacey, we're basically doing the hacker's job, right? They get one credential they buy for 15 cents off the web. We giving them too much permission, and they're going all over town with the lateral movement across the cloud. Okay. That's something I think we're going to have to deal with in 2023. So, what about your compliance in 2022? Any big thoughts on that?
So interesting, right? So based on what you just said, since the instantiation of many of your compliance frameworks, the least privileged principle, need to know principles, those have always been talked about and expected for you to put in place. And that means different things to different people. Some people think it's just a matter of making sure we have certain roles and people assigned to these roles, but they never really go into, does this job function really need to have all these permissions within this role? Do we need to have additional ones? Do we need to really review these and see if they're still the same? But it's just simpler. We put them in a group, they have this access, and then do a review. Are they even using it within their role? Like that's really key to helping decide and optimizing sort of that least privilege principle. And we are now in the era of continuous compliance. I believe 2022 showed that regardless of what happens in the world, from political turmoil to pandemic, which we're all still feeling, compliance doesn't budge, right? So the audits still need to be filed. The auditors are still expecting to come in and assess your environment. And now in 2023, with an economic downturn in full swing, these things need to be completed with less staff. And just have to be more economical, right? So during the pandemic, we were forced to change how we work, right? Everything has to be accessible remotely. Maybe some people downsized as far as people, resources, physical buildings, and what have you. So now we still have the requirements. We still need to do these things, and we're doing them with less. So yes, this is going to cause a little bit more pain with the era of continuous compliance, but we can do it, and we're going to get it done.
Yeah, I couldn't have said it better. It is. I mean, this is it. I mean, we went through a pandemic. We've had riot in the streets. We got, well, it doesn't matter. The audit still has to be filed, right, Stacey? So
Absolutely.
now 2023 comes and it's like, hey, I just cut your staff in half. You still got to get this audit out. Have a great
Mhm.
day. Okay, all the best. So let's talk about 2023. What are any of your thoughts about compliance and identity in 2023, Stacey?
Right. So what we're talking about when you talk about doing more with less, technology, automation, these things are here for a reason, right? Here to help us. So you have your identity as a service solutions. Leverage these. They will help you, right? It's going to help you grow. They're the future, right? You have things like Okta and Azure AD and Jump Cloud, Ping are requirements for enterprises that are large and small to manage their identities and enforce entitlements, right? Additionally, managed services. There's a growth in managed services in identity. And now identity governance, right? Because of the need for continuous compliance, there is no way that enterprises, especially in your small to medium businesses and commercial, will be able to keep up with the identity security, let alone compliance and governance requirements. We have seen this, right? And then, of course, the hot topic, right? Zero trust. Zero trust has to be understood as identity centric, right? So you're coming out with federal mandates on, hey, we need to move towards zero trust, right? So, it's got to be an identity centric enforcement and authorization tool. And I still believe that it's not some of the ways that it's implemented. There's network segmentation folks, right? They're leading the charge, but that's not enough. To really implement, right? Zero trust, there needs to be consistent on your trust score, right? We need to look at this and how it's passed and accepted. It needs to, much like your SAMLs and your OIDC did for SSO, we need to really look into this. But there needs to be sort of an SSO plus with zero trust score attached to it, right, Gary?
I love where you took that. I love where you took that, Stacey, because we're both in the outside world and the center. I've always wondered why zero trust was finagled by the L2 to L4 folks. And I'm not putting them down, network people. Great for jumping on us first. But zero trust is not a network thing. Given that we're all moving to the cloud, we're all on SaaS, we're all on the PaaS, whatever, we got to say, great, we establish an identity here. But when you move over here, I need another higher level of trust. That's what is needed. That's how we got to leverage zero trust going forward. And where I see it is another topic I see going to be big in 2023 is metrics. How do we measure this stuff?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Guilty here.
APIs.
We build a lot of stuff. We sell a lot of stuff. Is it working? How is it working? How do I measure if I'm more effective today than I was yesterday or a month ago, et cetera? I see that's going to be one of the challenges that the providers and the procurers of these solutions are going to have to show the industry. I bought you this and I started at this identity level of trust, but now 6 months later, because of our practices, procedures, and products, we are now at this level of trust. I see that coming up in 2023 as mandated and actually helping the industry. But the side that I see that's going to be fought is we're going to have to do some cost savings.
Oh, yeah.
The traditional way of just throwing 7 figures at identity governance and identity management projects is simply not realistic. We're going to have to do what the rest of the industry done and use better cloud tools, better GUI-based tools to accomplish the same things, and better tools that existing personnel will know how to use. That's what I see. I see the metrics, cost savings, and zero trust big in 2023.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's wrap it up, Stacey, because we are going to be doing some webinars this probably early winter and going into spring, so more people can hear more of us. At YouAttest, you can reach out to us at youattest.com, and we'd be happy to talk to you. And Stacey, why don't you tell the world how to reach y'all?
You can reach us at www.QoS Consulting Solutions with an S.com, or you can find us on LinkedIn, or you can email us directly at sales@QoSConsultingSolutions.com. Looking forward to hearing from you.
Fantastic. Great work there, Stacey.